Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, you've curated a snapshot of India as it stands right now, April 15th, 2025, through the lens of today's top headlines. Consider us your rapid analysis team, dissecting these key stories to provide you with the essential context and understanding, all without needing to sift through countless reports yourself.
Precisely. We're treating these headlines as our core data points, drilling down into the crucial details to offer a clear and insightful perspective on the major developments shaping India at this moment. No unnecessary additions, just the vital information and its significance for you.
All right, let's get straight to the heart of the matter and unpack the news that's commanding attention across India. And what better place to start than with the high-octane drama of the Indian Premier League?
Yes, cricket. Always a good starting point in India.
The clash between the Lucknow Supergiants and our Chennai Super Kings sounds like it was an absolute thriller.
Indeed. The headline itself, CSK defeats LSG in a thrilling encounter, speaks volumes, and the specifics confirm a captivating contest. CSK managed to secure a 5-wicket victory over LSG.
5 wickets.
And importantly, it ended a string of 5 consecutive losses for them.
Wow, that's a big turnaround then. Breaking that kind of streak must be a huge psychological boost in the IPL.
Oh, absolutely. In a tournament this competitive, momentum is key.
It seems like the game unfolded with all the classic tension and strategic shifts we've come to expect. CSK won the crucial toss, right?
Yeah.
And chose to bowl first at Iconic Cricket Stadium.
They did. And early on, it appears LSG's batting lineup struggled considerably against the CSK bowling attack. Khalil Ahmed and Anshul Kamboi took vital early wickets.
So they really put the pressure on from the start. That can be tough to come back from.
Exactly. That early dominance by the CSK bowlers really set the tone. Even though Rishabh Pant managed a fighting half-century, scoring 42 runs off, 35 balls. His efforts were somewhat countered by Ravindra Jadeja's crucial intervention. He took 2 key wickets.
Jadeja, always reliable in those middle overs.
Absolutely. That prevented LSG from truly accelerating. They eventually posted 166 for 7 in their 20 overs. A decent score maybe, but probably less than they hoped for after Pant's innings.
Okay, so 167 to win, always a tricky chase. How did CSK fare? It says they started well with Rachin Ravindra and Sheikh Rashid.
They did start promisingly, but then the narrative took a sharp turn. LSG's bowlers retaliated, claiming 4 quick wickets in the middle order.
The classic middle order wobble. You can just feel the tension rising at that point. That can derail a chase completely.
That middle order collapse is often where matches swing, isn't it? It really tests the batting side's nerve. But this situation just highlighted the sheer value of experience.
You mean Dhoni?
MS Dhoni, yes.
Yeah.
And the informed Shivam Dubey. They stepped up, took control during the crucial death overs, and that penultimate over, bowled by Shardul Thakur, seems to have been decisive.
Oh, what happened there?
Dhoni's strategic hitting, he secured 19 runs off that one over. 19! It dramatically shifted the equation back in CSK's favor.
19 runs in the 19th over. That is game-changing. Classic Dhoni under pressure.
It really is. That calculated aggression is his trademark. So, with just 5 runs needed in the final over, Shivam Dubey calmly finished the job with a boundary.
Fantastic finish. The analysis is rightly highlighting Dhoni's finishing prowess, legendary stuff, and Dubey's composed batting. Sounds like a truly memorable IPL 2025 game. Great bowling early on, resilient batting later, a real spectacle.
Undoubtedly, the kind of contest that makes the IPL so compelling. And for CSK, like you said, more than just points, it's a massive confidence boost that could reignite their campaign.
Okay, from the electrifying atmosphere of the cricket stadium, let's shift gears. We now turn our attention to the critical global issue of climate change.
A very different kind of arena.
Indeed. Our next headline details India's evolving strategy for climate finance, particularly in the wake of the United States' withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. That decision must have created significant challenges, right, for global funding.
It certainly did. The U.S. withdrawal undeniably created what's being described as a significant gap in the overall landscape of global climate action funding. This shift has placed a greater responsibility on other nations, including India, to actively seek and secure alternative pathways for funding their climate initiatives.
So given this considerable void, how is India specifically adapting? It sounds like they're proactively exploring various avenues, not just relying on the old channels.
Precisely. India is strategically exploring a diverse range of various multilateral and bilateral channels. The report specifically highlights the ongoing Indo-German partnership, which is quite significant.
Okay.
Additionally, India is actively engaging with established global institutions like the Green Climate Fund, GCF, and the Global Environment Facility, GES. Plus, looking towards developer banks like the Asian Development Bank, ADB, and the World Bank's IBRD.
It's interesting to see that diversification, but the headline also underscores the role of India's own domestic resources. That internal commitment must be pretty central to their strategy.
Absolutely central. The article explicitly states that India's climate actions rely heavily on its own domestic funding.
Right.
While international mechanisms under the UNFCCC have provided some support, about $1.16 billion as of February last year, the primary financial muscle comes from India's own budget and domestic resource mobilization.
And they even flagged it in the economic survey, didn't they? The need for resilience against climate shocks.
Yes, the 2024-25 economic survey emphasized that, highlighting the financial implications.
What about those sovereign green bonds we've heard about? Are they making a big dent?
They've played a role raising some capital specifically for green projects. However, the report indicates that gaps persist. The need is huge. For instance, the Green Climate Fund's total portfolio, around $16 billion, while substantial, is still seen as inadequate for all developing nations' needs. So India's focus is heavily on securing concessional financing, better loan terms, and just strategically leveraging available domestic resources.
It sounds like a tricky balancing act, especially with multilateral development banks often providing non-concessional loans. Those come with risks like currency fluctuations, right?
Exactly. Navigating those financial complexities is a key challenge. However, there's an expert opinion cited suggesting India's green financing efforts should remain stable despite the U.S. pullout.
Why is that?
Mainly because the U.S. wasn't a primary direct financial contributor to India's efforts anyway. So the key takeaway is India is adapting, innovating its financial strategies to keep progressing on climate mitigation and adaptation, even with these global funding shifts.
Okay, moving from global finance to individual health, our next headline focuses on Eli Lilly's weight loss drug, Mounjaro, launching in India. This seems to be generating quite a bit of buzz.
That's absolutely right. The launch has sparked significant patient interest. Reports show a noticeable surge in related inquiries at hospitals and clinics. The drug's now approved by India's regulator, available in vial doses. The price range is roughly 3,500 to 4,375 rupees.
Okay, hold on. 3,000 to 4,375 rupees. That's around, what, $50 to $65 maybe? Compared to over $1,000 a month in the U.S., that price difference is huge, isn't it?
It is a massive difference, a potential game changer for accessibility in India. Previously, patients often had to rely on the black market or overseas connections. So this official launch at a much lower price is a really significant development.
The article calls it a potential game changer, and you can see why, especially with projections suggesting India might have the second largest overweight population globally by 2050. Are we seeing shifts already, like patients switching?
Yes, the report suggests a notable trend. Patients who might have been using Novo Nordisk's Ozempic off-label are now switching to Mounjaro, mainly because of the better cost and availability.
Right.
And this is prompting a response. Novo Nordisk is apparently accelerating its plans to launch its own drug, Wegovy, in India. So competition is heating up.
So we're seeing the market landscape potentially shifting. What about Indian generic companies? Are they getting in on this?
They certainly are. Indian generic pharma companies are actively exploring developing their own cheaper alternatives. If generics enter the market, that could drive prices down even further and broaden access significantly.
It's a massive global market, isn't it? Projected at $175 billion by 2035. Huge incentive there.
Absolutely. And the demand is visible. Manipal hospitals in Bengaluru reported a 20% jump in inquiries about weight loss treatments. Plus, patient testimonials are emerging about substantial weight reduction, which fuels interest.
But these are serious medications, right? The article mentions caution from doctors.
Extremely important point. Healthcare professionals are strongly emphasizing the need for proper medical guidance. These aren't quick fixes or over-the-counter drugs. They need careful evaluation and supervision by doctors.
So increased access, lower cost, but still needs proper medical oversight.
Exactly. But overall, Mounjaro's launch looks set to significantly reshape obesity treatment accessibility and affordability in India.
Now, turning our attention to the political arena. We have a headline detailing Arvind Kejriwal's criticisms of both the BJP and Congress. This was on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birth anniversary, a significant date.
Yes, a very strategic moment for such statements. Kejriwal accused both the BJP and Congress of having only a superficial connection with Dr. Ambedkar's ideals, especially regarding education.
What was his main point?
He alleged they prioritized vote banks over genuinely implementing Ambedkar's vision, particularly for empowering marginalized groups through education.
And how did he position his own party, AAP, in contrast?
Kejriwal emphasized AAP's deep alignment with the ideologies of both Ambedkar and Bhagat Singh, claiming it's reflected in their governance and life practices.
Right.
He specifically hit out at the BJP's education record, accusing them of undermining AAP's reforms in Delhi and failing to improve Gujarat's system over 30 years. He even alleged they enabled private schools to hike fees, reversing AAP's efforts.
Strong words. Did he offer any positive examples from AAP's side?
Yes, he commended the AAP government in Punjab for reserving spots for SC/ST lawyers on government panels, presenting it as genuinely following Ambedkar's ideals and urging the BJP to do likewise.
It wasn't just Kejriwal making political points on the day, though. The Delhi Congress chief also weighed in.
That's correct. Devinder Yadav paid his tributes and asserted Congress's commitment to opposing what he called the BJP's divisive policies and protecting the Constitution.
So a clear example of parties trying to align themselves with Ambedkar's legacy, especially connecting with Dalit communities on his anniversary.
Precisely. It underscores his enduring political significance.
Okay, shifting focus to a significant legal development. The Calcutta High Court has ruled that consensual physical relationships between married adults aren't a criminal offense, even if one person later claims they were misled by a false promise of marriage. This seems like quite a clarification.
It is indeed a noteworthy judgment. Justice Bivas Ranjande emphasized that if the relationship is consensual and both people know they are married and understand the implications, the consent is considered genuine.
So the knowledge of marital status is key here.
Exactly. As a result, the court quashed proceedings against a man accused by a married woman in just such a scenario.
Can you give us a few more details on that specific case?
Certainly. It involved a 2-year extramarital relationship. The complaint was filed after the woman's husband found out and refused to reconcile. She accused the man under sections related to deceitful intercourse and criminal intimidation. But the High Court found no evidence of culpable mentality and clandestine motives from the accused man, given the circumstances and the established relationship.
So the court drew a clear line between a consensual, albeit extramarital, relationship between knowledgeable adults and actual coercion or deceit.
Precisely. It's being seen as a significant clarification on the legal stance regarding extramarital affairs, emphasizing mutual accountability and awareness of marital obligations when adults consent.
Yeah, that ruling sounds like it could spark quite a bit of discussion.
Yeah.
About the legal and ethical sides of these relationships, consent, fidelity.
Absolutely. It raises fundamental questions about the law's role in private adult relationships and evolving interpretations of consent, especially within marriage. It pushes towards individual autonomy, perhaps.
Interesting. Okay, on a more globally unifying note, our next headline highlights a significant event at the UN headquarters in New York. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was honored there on his birth anniversary.
Yes, a notable international recognition. The event was organized by India's permanent mission to the UN. Union Minister Ramdas Athawal was there, highlighting Ambedkar's global influence.
And India's UN ambassador.
Ambassador Parvatani Harish also spoke, emphasizing Ambedkar's role in the freedom struggle and his fight for social justice.
And didn't New York City itself make a declaration?
It did. Mayor Eric Adams declared April 14th Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar Day in the city. He praised Ambedkar's principles of justice and equality for fostering harmony and diversity in New York, reaffirming the city's commitment to those values.
That's quite something. A testament to his enduring legacy recognized internationally like that. The article also reminds us he wasn't just a political leader.
Exactly. Born in 1891, he was a key architect of the Constitution, a social reformer, and a distinguished economist with degrees from Columbia and the LSE. His dedication to justice continues to inspire globally.
So the UN event really served as a platform to reflect on his timeless vision and its global resonance.
A historic moment bridging cultural and social values.
Staying on national progress, let's go to Haryana, where Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's energy advancements. Seems like a multifaceted event.
Indeed. PM Modi stated India's power generation has doubled in the past decade, allowing electricity exports now, which is quite a shift.
Right.
At the event, he laid the foundation for an 800 milliW ultra-critical thermal power unit at the Deenbandhu Chotu Ram plant, a big investment aimed at boosting Haryana's energy self-sufficiency. That ultra-critical tech means higher efficiency, fewer emissions than older coal plants.
A significant upgrade then. What else was launched? It wasn't just the power plant, was it?
No, he also inaugurated a compressed biogas plant in Mukherjee. That's expected to produce 2,600 metric tons of CDG annually by 2027 using organic waste for clean energy.
Good for waste management, too.
And infrastructure-wise, he launched the 14.4-kilometer Rewari Bypass Project, part of the Faratmala Highways program, to ease traffic in Rewari and boost the regional economy.
So energy, clean tech, infrastructure, a coordinated push. And he mentioned the double-engine government idea again?
He did, yes, emphasizing the synergy between the BJP-led central and state governments, accelerating Haryana's development. And like others, he paid tribute to Dr. Ambedkar on his birth anniversary.
How did he connect that?
He linked the focus on industrial development to Ambedkar's vision of social justice and empowerment. He mentioned mission manufacturing specifically, aiming to create jobs for Dalits and disadvantaged groups, aligning with Ambedkar's belief in industries transforming lives.
So the overall message was industrial growth, clean energy, infrastructure, all under the Viksit Bharat, or Developed India vision, while celebrating Haryana's role.
Precisely.
Okay, our next headline takes us south to Karnataka. A leaked caste census report there has apparently sparked a major political debate. These reports are always sensitive, aren't they?
Extremely sensitive, yes. They have huge implications for representation and reservation policies. The leaked estimates suggest Vocaligas make up about 10.3% of the population, with a proposed 7% reservation,
Lingayats.
estimated at 11%, with a proposed 8% reservation. But it's crucial to note there are reported internal divisions within the Lingayat community itself, groups like Virashaiva Lingayats and Patramasalas disagreeing on representation.
Complex dynamics even within communities. What about the Muslim population data? That's often a focal point too.
Yes, the report estimates the Muslim population at 12.6%, and significantly it includes a recommendation to double their current reservation quota from 4% to 8%.
Doubling it. Okay, that will definitely generate discussion. How is the state government handling this leak and the fallout?
It seems carefully. Deputy CM DK Shivakumar met with Vocaliga legislators to address concerns. Lingayat leaders like Minister Eshwar Khandre are gathering feedback ahead of a cabinet meeting on the 17th where this will be discussed.
And the chief minister?
CM Siddaramaiah has remained publicly quiet so far, likely awaiting those cabinet discussions.
Unsurprisingly, the leak has already drawn political fire, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. An expelled BJP MLA, Basanaguda Patil Yatnal, questioned categorizing Muslims as a minority for reservations, and he even suggested Brahmins, at about 2%, should get minority status.
Wow, okay.
It just highlights the incredibly complex and often contentious nature of caste politics and reservations in Karnataka. The government faces immense pressure to address concerns from all sides without rushing decisions that could worsen tensions.
Ugh, real tightrope walk. All right, turning to technology now and its impact. Our next headline looks at India's accelerating EV adoption and the challenges this poses for automakers and, importantly, the power grid.
It's a massive transition underway. A report from Imperial College Business School projects. EV sales could hit 25% of the market by 2030. That's up significantly from around 8% now.
A huge jump. What does that mean for car companies?
Well, it could put financial strain on traditional players like Maruti Suzuki who haven't really entered the EV space yet. But it's a big potential benefit for someone like Tata Motors, who already have about 70% of India's current EV market.
A potential shakeup in the industry, then. But the power grid implications sound even bigger. A 60% increase in electricity use.
That's the estimate, yes. A staggering potential increase by 2030. And here's the catch. If that extra demand is met mostly by existing coal power, well, it undermines the whole climate benefit of EVs.
Right, so massive investment in renewables is crucial alongside the EVs.
Absolutely critical. They have to go hand in hand.
And what about charging? 6.7 million new charging points needed by 2030. That sounds like a monumental task.
It is. It requires huge funding from government and the private sector, plus really smart planning. Policy tools like time-of-use tariffs could help, incentivizing off-peak charging to reduce grid strain.
The article also flags other worries, like the reliance on coal generally, and India importing most of its lithium for batteries.
Yes, those are major hurdles. Coal dependency impacts air quality and climate goals. And relying on imported lithium, over 90% of global production is concentrated elsewhere, creates a big supply chain vulnerability.
Are there any suggested solutions? Financial ones, maybe?
The report suggests ideas like sustainability-linked bonds, lower interest rates for companies hitting EV targets, maybe stricter terms for those lagging on charging infrastructure.
Interesting. So the promise of EVs is clear, less oil dependence, cleaner air in cities. But huge challenges remain in charging renewables and securing materials like lithium.
Exactly. It's a complex transition requiring a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, our penultimate headline takes us to West Bengal. Political tensions seem to be escalating in Murshidabad over protests related to the waqf law. Sounds like a volatile situation with TMC and BJP trading blame. Just to remind listeners, waqf laws deal with donated properties for religious or charitable Islamic purposes.
That's right. And the situation in Murshidabad is concerning, with reports of ongoing violence linked to these protests. The ruling Trinamool Congress, via spokesperson Kunal Ghosh, is accusing protesters of serving the BJP's agenda to disrupt life. TMC questions why the protests are focused in Bengal, not Delhi, where the central law originates, and alleges they're being hijacked to destabilize the state. CM Mamata Banerjee has tried to reassure people that anti-people provisions won't be implemented there.
And the TNC accusations go further, mentioning opposition politicians and even the BSF.
Yes, they have alleged that opposition figures in some BSF sections are aiding external elements to stir unrest, all benefiting what they call the BJP's divisive agenda.
Serious charge. What's the BJP's counter-narrative?
Starkly different, as you'd expect. BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari has called for president's rule in Bengal, citing a breakdown of law and order. He's criticized the state police as TMC cadres and alleged Hindus in minority areas are being stopped from voting.
President's rule is a drastic step. Any central government involvement noted.
Union Minister Sukanta Majumdar visited a camp in Malda housing families reportedly displaced by the unrest. Meanwhile, CM Banerjee plans to meet community elders in Kolkata to try and diffuse tensions.
So it really underscores the deep political and potentially communal divides in Bengal, with both parties seemingly leveraging the situation.
It appears so. The protests and violence has sparked debates on governance, law enforcement, and community relations in the state.
Okay, finally, our last headline brings us to Maharashtra. There's been an adjustment to the Ladki Bahen Yojana welfare scheme stipend.
That's correct. The monthly stipend has been reduced from $1,500 down to $500 for about 8 lakh beneficiaries.
Why the reduction for that specific group?
Because those beneficiaries are also receiving €1,000 under another scheme, the Namochatkari Mahazan Nidhi. There's a rule for Ladki Bahen that total benefits shouldn't exceed $1,500 monthly. So this is about preventing duplication and adhering to that cap.
Ah, okay, so it's an alignment measure, essentially. Was there also scrutiny of the applications?
Yes, the government undertook rigorous scrutiny to ensure eligibility. The initial applicant pool was reduced after verification. CM Devendra Fadnavis stated this was about fairness, not changing criteria or funding levels fundamentally.
But this adjustment comes as Maharashtra faces financial pressure, right? High projected debt.
That's the context, yes. Projected debt over 9 lakh crore for 2025-26. And the budget for the Ladki Bahen scheme itself was reduced from 46,000 crore to 36,000 crore.
So the government's rationale is streamlining benefits and maintaining program integrity amid these budget constraints.
Exactly. It reflects the broader challenge many governments face, managing welfare schemes effectively within financial limitations.
Let's quickly touch on the last few headlines before we wrap up. Telangana implementing SC sub-categorization. That sounds like a landmark move.
It really is. Telangana becomes the first state in India to do this, timing it with Dr. Ambedkar's 135th birth anniversary. They've divided 59 SC subcastes into 3 groups with varying reservation percentages 1%, 9%, and 5%.
Based on what? Population? Need?
It follows a Supreme Court verdict upholding the state's right to do this, aiming for more equitable distribution of reservation benefits among the subcastes. It also includes 33% reservation for women within these groups. It's being hailed as a tribute to Ambedkar's vision.
Sets a precedent, possibly. And Mehul Choksi arrested in Belgium, the fugitive jeweler.
Yes, a significant development. Accused in the huge Punjab National Bank fraud, fled India in 2018. He is apprehended in Antwerp following an Indian extradition request.
His lawyer is appealing, citing health.
Correct. Arguing health issues, not a flight risk, politically motivated case, concerns about Indian prisons. Meanwhile, his nephew Nirav Modi remains in prison in Britain. It's a major step in India's efforts to pursue fugitives abroad.
And finally, this Pakistan-linked hacking group, SideCopy, expanding its targets in India.
Yes, concerning news from cybersecurity researchers. They're now targeting railways, oil and gas, and external affairs ministries, using advanced malware like Krobak and SparkGuard.
How are they getting in?
Shifting tactics from HTA files to MSI packages, using phishing emails with decoy documents, and employing sophisticated evasion techniques like DLL sideloading. They're hitting both Windows and Linux systems now.
So a persistent and evolving threat requires robust defenses.
Absolutely. Vigilance and proactive security are key. So as you can see from just this selection of headlines, the news landscape in India today, April 15, 2025, is incredibly diverse and dynamic. We've gone from the cricket pitch excitement to critical policy shifts on climate change.
Significant developments in healthcare access, intense political maneuvering, important legal rulings, even international arrests and cyber threats.
Exactly.
And hopefully this deep dive into these key headlines has provided you, our listeners, with a clearer, more detailed, and nuanced understanding of the major issues and events currently shaping the nation.
What's particularly striking, I think, is the interconnectedness. A sporting victory impacts national mood. Global policy shifts affect domestic climate action. Health breakthroughs create economic ripples. It's all linked.
It really is. Which brings us to a final thought for you to consider. Looking at these diverse developments we discussed today, the EV transition challenges, the caste census debates, the geopolitical implications of the Choksi arrest, the climate finance scramble, which of these do you believe will ultimately have the most profound and lasting long-term impact on India? And perhaps more importantly, why? How might these threads weave together in the future?
Something to ponder.
Indeed. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.